Hello, this is Dalen75 Games. Actually, it's Ryan from Let's Roleplay. Yes, my real name is out there. You have power over me now. Okay, I hope this won't be a real long video, but it might. I don't think I'll have to split it up again, but there's a few things I wanted to add outside of the Q&A. And again, we have 3 people that asked me a bunch of questions for Q&A. And I hope this isn't too bright in my face. And it's my monitor. It's a 34-inch widescreen monitor. Yeah, it's big. So I've had issues with this before, so I've had to change the lighting. I can't even have my normal light that's up above me on, because with all of this, it's just like, you saw my original video if you saw it last year. I don't know, it was September, I think, that I did it in. And it's just like it was super bright in the front, and then it was shadow on the sides. But I have turned my monitor down to like the brightness down to like 70% or something. I can tell it doesn't really affect my viewing experience in the games that I play, but yeah, I did it just because I'm making these videos. It was just a little crazy. If you go back to my very first one, just nuts. So anyways, it is January 16th 2020. Let's start with my own stuff I want to talk about. So I've had a few people say I seemed unhappy in my videos or in comments in the last year. No, nothing like that is true. I treat you guys like my customers in the store. I kick out problem makers, as in I'd get rid of spam and trolling comments. But I separate my own life problems from my videos on my channel. So I don't bring that to you guys. Like, I think the worst things that I have happened to me are lack of sleep, right? And it's a combination of a bunch of things, but it's not really that I just have insomnia. It's other things too. Like my son, he's 6 years old. He can't sleep on his own. So that affects us. It's affected both my wife and myself sleep. We have a sleep trainer that we tried to go through it for 3 weeks, all throughout the Christmas holidays, and still, I mean, it's improved, but he still has to, he'll wake up and have to be next to somebody. He has to sleep next to somebody. He just can't sleep by himself. It's a little crazy. So there's that, and there's other issues, like I do have sensitivity to caffeine, but I love coffee and I love chocolate. I mean, I can't have any chocolate or coffee, even decaf, after 12 p.m. I'm not talking 12 a.m., I'm talking 12 p.m. So I can have a bit of caffeine, but I have to watch it, and occasionally I have to take sleeping meds to go to sleep. Zopiclone is something that I occasionally take. And then I was sick for quite a few weeks, actually, during this last summer of 2020 with shingles, so that really sucked. But yeah, so I'll probably bring that up as another point in the video. But yeah, I separate that from you guys. I don't, if I'm in a bad mood, which occasionally happens to everybody, I don't go into my channel and, you know, start ragging on anybody. I just keep that away. I probably won't make videos if I'm in a real bad mood, or deal with anyone on my channel. So it's another thing to keep in mind when it's pure text, and everyone should know this because we live in the information age. Everyone's on their devices, talking to everyone, chatting, texting. I was reading about someone who was an expert in communication, and they say that communication is only 7% words. The rest is body language and tone of voice. So you get all that in the video, my body language and tone of voice, along with my words. So you get the whole thing here, what I'm conveying. But when you're just, you know, typing out text comments to somebody, you might not get, I mean, I go into, when I'm talking to people, commenting, texting, wherever it is, forums, wherever it is, you should always assume that the person has a good intent and is positive. Don't go into them trying to, unless they literally say that they're ticked off about something, or you can't really, sometimes it's hard to deduce how someone is feeling, and, you know, so just always go with a positive attitude about everything, that person is all right and they don't mean anything bad about it. I'm always happy and supportive of my customers, which is you guys. So if it's in my videos, well, I mean, I'm 100% in character. I'm acting. So my character could be ticked off about something, but that's just acting. That's nothing to do with me in real life. So between the two, don't ever think that I'm bringing my bad attitude or whatever to you guys. I don't do that. If I have things going that are serious in my life and I'm dealing with them, then I'll slow my videos down, like 1 video a day, which I've done a few times in the last year, or just stop them outright. I mean, I had this, that might be loud, sorry. This cable right here went on me, which is the microphone cable. I had to replace it, and it took like 4 or 5 days to get here from Amazon. Didn't come here immediately. Sometimes you go to third-party companies that are hosted on Amazon, and they don't always deliver immediately. Otherwise, typically we get Amazon stuff we order within a few days. So, but yeah, I had to stop my videos for a while, and then because of that, I also gave it a few extra days of just going 1 video per day so I can catch up, because I was completely out of videos. So it happens. And yeah, I already talked about being ill, so I've got a list I'm going through of what to say. Yeah, I think that's everything for that. So I want to talk about a couple of my Morrowind videos and YouTube and censorship and stuff like that. And it did actually affect me, and I keep up with the news, and especially what's going on with YouTube. I know what's going on, especially with censorship. I'm always concerned that it will affect my channel at some point. I think it will. Not that I put out anything political on this channel, but I think that YouTube doesn't... They may go after smaller channels that aren't really picking things up, like my channel, eventually. But we'll have to see. So, my Morrowind video 98, Corpus Disease, My Descent into Madness, that has a really interesting story. I used my own experience when I was in the hospital. I don't know. If you've been following my channel since before I stopped, you would probably know why I stopped. I was in... It was like May 27th, 2016. I was hospitalized for 15 days. I was put in induced coma, medically induced coma, because they didn't know what the heck was wrong with me. I was like, I lost my mind. But my vision had gone, and then my wife took me to the hospital. My voice had gone on the way. And I don't like going to hospitals because I've had a lot of experiences in them, and I don't like waiting. Yeah, so she's a nurse, which is ironic. My wife is a nurse, labor and delivery nurse. She delivers babies. So my voice was going, and then I could barely talk. I thought I was having a stroke. And I was 40 years old. I'm 45 now, so that was 5 years ago. And told the doctor that I think I'm having a stroke, and all I could mouth was stroke, like that, slowly. That's all I can get out. I mean, I was crying on the way to the hospital because I thought I was possibly dying. Everybody in the car started crying. My 2 boys. My youngest was a year old at the time, so he had no clue. My older one was 5, so he didn't know what was going on either. And my wife started crying. I mean, it was a very terrible time. And then, so they put me in a room and told me to change into it, and I did. I changed into it, and I sat down on the bed, laid back. The curtain was closed. I was in my own little tiny room, and the last thought I had was, I hope this doesn't take too long for them to get to me. And then I woke up 5 days later. Apparently, and I have no memory of this, I actually was fighting with hospital staff. They had to call a code white, where a whole bunch of people rushed to try to subdue me, and they injected me. And they didn't know what to do with me. It was a smaller local hospital. Yeah, so when I woke up, I was actually in another hospital, a larger one, which is... I mean, that was about 20 minutes away. This hospital I went to was about 10 minutes away, the original hospital. So we're kind of between some hospitals. It's not like it's really far from here. But, yeah, that was... When I woke up, I have to say it was one of the worst 24 hours of my life. It was horrible. I was on 3 different antipsychotics, and my brain was swollen. I had... where am I? I was dealing with encephalitis, which was very serious. They didn't know what had caused the encephalitis. It could be... Literally, I looked it up. It's so crazy. You can get this, encephalitis, which I never saw coming. You can get it from any viral or bacterial disease that you've dealt with in your life. It can just sneak up at any time. That's what I looked up. That's what it says on Wikipedia. Sometimes they have no idea what caused it. Could have been something, I had a cold or flu 20 years ago. It's crazy. So it happens. It's just like randomly I was hit that day. I didn't even see it coming. So I've actually heard from other people that blurred vision, like my vision, it was very strange. There was like a line, and the top half was blurry, and then eventually after about 45 minutes the bottom half was blurry too. So I couldn't, whatever I looked on, that was not focused. So, and that's a swelling of your brain. It was like a viral attack on my brain. It could be viral, fungal, or bacterial, and it can go through the spine and get to your brain that way. But if it was bacterial for me, it could have eaten away at my brain. I could have had serious brain damage, but they didn't know what had caused it. So it's like meningitis. Meningitis attacks the netting around the brain. Encephalitis attacks the brain directly. I could have had permanent brain damage bacterial, I should say. Well, actually, it can eat away at your brain. So that was a terrible time for my wife, let me tell you. 5 days I was out and I woke up. That was terrible. What I went through when I woke up was just horrible. I was hallucinating, auditory and visual, really badly. So in that video I mentioned corporate disease, my descent into madness. I put my personal experience in there. So you hear a lot of sounds that I added, including my own voice at certain points. And my experience was much the same when it came to auditory hallucinations. I was just hearing stuff all that weren't really there. But in fact, I had both auditory and visual hallucinations, more visual than auditory. But I can't really add in visual hallucinations into the video, into Morrowind, because unless I want to mod my own crazy stuff into the game, I mean, I don't have time or the artistic talent to create stuff like that within reason. But yeah, I had a bit of my own experience, like the stuff I was hearing. I heard a lot of crazy things. My name was being called from different rooms. Literally, some guy was yelling my name who didn't exist. I heard hammering going on in other rooms. I was in, I woke up in ICU, and then at some point during the day, they moved me to, intensive care unit or something. I had my own room. It was actually fair size, probably the size of this, my man cave down here. And, when I woke up, I was actually tied. My arms were tied by my wrists to the bed because of the way I acted before they put me under. I have no memory. I don't even remember even thinking that this was terrible. I was like in a dream. I was half in a dream, and everything was just crazy. On the whiteboard next to me, my father-in-law it was my wife. My wife had written something nice that we hope we all love you and we hope you recover. But I didn't see that. I saw something from my father-in-law. It said something like crazy, like, we know that you've stolen all these, something like this, and meaning gold or money or whatever, and don't worry, I'll take that to the grave with me, that secret to the grave with me. It's something crazy. I literally could see the whiteboard and read that. That's how out of it I was. I'm surprised I can even read properly, actually, but that's what I read. So, yeah, and then other insane things, like taking it to like a horror movie, because you don't know, you're going through it like a dream, right? You don't say, oh, that's not real. You don't think of that. It's just you experience it. So you don't really have much reasoning in your head going on at the time. I thought at one point I was in a transition between death and being reborn into a new life, which is insane. At another point, time was standing still. I can watch the clock and it wasn't moving. They put on two movies for me, and I just barely remember seeing it, but I couldn't watch it. They put on Cowboys and Aliens and The Man with the Golden Gun. I couldn't follow it at all. It was nuts what I was seeing. It was like, Cowboys and Aliens, it follows the cowboys for the most part, shows a bit of the alien side, but I was seeing perspective from the alien side for quite a bit of the movie, which wasn't in the movie. I cannot tell you where this stuff came from. I had a whole bunch of other stuff. That's just the tip of the iceberg. I think what was maybe happening, I didn't want anyone to leave me alone, because whenever I was left alone, I would start having these horrible hallucinations. Yeah, so I always wanted somebody in the room with me, but so I would almost like pass out, I guess, and just start dreaming these super vivid things that I couldn't tell were different from reality. And yeah, I mean, at one point there was, I don't know, it just I can just keep going on and on. It's just crazy how much what I went through. So I put what I could into the video, auditory for the most part. I think I did okay. I could have done a little better. I'm not really happy with some of the things I put in there, but you know, I thought I made it interesting in that video. So yeah, I'll talk about another video I did. Yeah, okay, so this goes into the censorship. So I'm not happy with the rampant censorship online, and no one should be, no matter what side of the political spectrum you are. It's going to affect everyone. You can't even say certain words for anyone on YouTube. There's apparently is one name you can't even say. You're instantly get a strike, and that video will be removed. So YouTube censorship on the one video I had, 171. I can't even say the name because they'll probably demonetize this video. They did it to that video, and it's on the actual name. But Morrowind 171. There was a couple of times in my Morrowind videos where the word... Well, let's start with... yeah, why that video was demonetized. I'll get to the other one. It's because these two words were said in it. The first word is part of the title. The second word was said in there. And I believe these are things that I actually read that came with the Morrowind game. So you can see these things. And there's also, this is the other word that was said in a couple of my videos that I read from the actual Morrowind game. So I narrated it, and there wasn't any issues with this word, though I have heard that that is a no-no word that YouTube can censor you for. Anyways, it doesn't affect me as much as, say, if I was putting out big videos, a day, like one video a day, and I was relying on that for, I had a lot of subs and views, and it's demonetized, that could affect me. Like, people with a couple million subs, you could lose thousands of dollars off of a video that's demonetized. So it was demonetized for 2 days, that one video, 171. And I actually think that it was more so this word, the second word, that was a big no-no to say. So people just typically will say, I've heard people say self-delete, which I can't say in an RPG because it's so jarring. It takes you right out of the immersiveness. Yeah, 2 days, then it was remonetized. Not that I have many views on it, but if I had hundreds of thousands of views on it, I could make thousands of dollars in that video. So it just goes to show you, because whenever I put my videos up, they're typically 3 to 5, 6 days ahead of time. So it remonetized on its own, and was demonetized, even though I'd selected the same stuff I always do for what's in it. If you make videos, you know what I'm talking about for YouTube. And I don't know why it was demonetized, but I can only assume it's the words that I showed you. So it's an example that I have. I mean, then Parler was shut down due to Amazon. Again, I don't agree with the big tech censorship. Parler will be up eventually. I mean, I have that on my channel. If you look in the my banner, you'll see my Parler link. They originally said a week so we will see. I left Twitter because of censorship back in 2015. I used to have it up for my channel. I used to have Facebook as well, but I left Facebook not for censorship reasons. I left it because of family. It has nothing to do with censorship. But I probably would have left that Facebook as well. And, okay, so this may be a bit cryptic, but here it goes. It is the 16th of January, 2021. Big things are going on in the US, as everybody should know. I don't know what will happen to the big tech companies. You heard it here. And if you see it in the news, don't be afraid of what's happening. And I seriously mean this. I can't be more serious right now. Things won't be going the way the mainstream media has been saying it will. Just be aware that some of us know what is really going on. Things might not be clear for some time. I can't tell you what's going to happen in the future. But things will work out for the best. For all of us, despite your political views. That's all I have to say about that. But again, next week will be a big week. Possibly the biggest week in my life. Okay, so I just checked. It's about 20 minutes already, so I'll have to separate the videos again, because there's even more more pages. I wrote about 6 pages. Probably about 3 to 4 pages are just for the Q&A. So we'll get to that in the next video. It'll be a separate video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again.